Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Knock On podcast. And I've got that guy right there. You see him in the Lancaster shirt. As I say, from Iowa, Lancaster. If you're east of uh Iowa, I think it's Lancaster. Is that was
Got
that
it. That was
was that
it.
pretty good?
That was
Yeah.
spot on. Yes.
I don't know if you know this, but like long time ago, honestly, the first 5 seasons of Knock on TV, Lancaster was a big, a big reason why we were on the air back then. And I remember for like our commercials, I remember Rob having to send me a text with proper enunciation of, hey, no one's gonna know what you're saying from around here unless you say it like this. So I was like, Lancaster Archery, Lancaster Archery, Lancaster Archery, like all the
Yes.
different versions.
Yeah, there are many versions. That is correct. Yeah.
What did you go with when you first went there? Were you doing it
So
correctly?
so I'm from here. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
Lancaster. I had it straight off.
Tell me a little bit about like how you got in, because I've never really heard your story of how you connected with
Yeah.
LAS. And then obviously that just progressed into, now you're
Crazy.
the voice of target competition, I guess media. I guess I don't know how I would describe your
Yeah.
status.
It's amazing just how things evolved that you never would imagine. But yeah, I'm actually from the next county over, like 45 minutes away from our pro shop. And so I just started going there because that was the place to go in 1990, 89, 90, somewhere around there.
Son of a
And
gun.
when Lancaster Archery was small, when Rob's dad's machine shop was underneath of it, it was just this little place. But it was the biggest archery shop around anyway. And I got to know Rob and I started shooting in his leagues. So I was there all the time. I was there quite a bit. And meanwhile, I started writing for newspapers. And then that progressed into magazines, some of the hunting magazines. So I was relying on Rob a lot for technical information. I just came in here and he would let me play with stuff, and you know how he is when
You're doing your same job, but now he's paying you to do it.
so
Nice play, bro.
yeah, so and it got to be so I started writing for the Lancaster County newspaper, and then I really, spent a lot of time here. And then one day, like maybe 15 years ago now, I'll never forget it. I was in shooting in a shop, and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to get my website set up here pretty soon, and you're going to come work for me." And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And I thought, yeah, like that's ever going to happen. And then he called me up. I think it's 13 years ago now, and he said, "Hey, my website's ready. Come on, let's do it." And
Dude, that might be when you know, Rob brought me out to hire me one time, right?
that was my second year, I believe.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You were in there. I
I
remember
was
when I
there.
when I came through. That's right. That's
Yep.
right.
Yes, I remember that well.
Yeah. I felt horrible because I was like, when we had an awesome day together, and then when he kind of sprung it on me like, "Hey, I want you to come in as LES's, marketing director," I just said, "Rob, I just moved to Iowa, bro. I'm not moving back to any type of deer less than Iowa." I said, "I'm sorry. I'll help you every way I can, but I can't move back there."
You made the right call.
Although,
Lifelong Pennsylvania hunter, you made the right call.
well, one, PA hunting is actually making a lot of progression in recent years, I think. And then the elk would have probably drawn me there.
They're giant.
Truthfully, yes. But I'm coming back to Lancaster, and
Yes,
we have to say this on the podcast before we
for
get too deep.
sure. Yes,
Everybody, today is what is today? Is it today
18th.
today is June 18th. in 10 days,
10 days.
June 28th, I will be at Lancaster. We're doing a takeover, man. It's
Yes.
going to be awesome. So this is
It,
the week after your big customer appreciation thing, which
yep.
we actually strategically planned because a lot of people can't even, get into that thing for as crazy as it is. So we kind of wanted to double up on it. And of course, that's my phone. We wanted to double up on that. And I wanted to be able to come through without honestly having that chaos
Yeah.
and doing something together. And I'm I guess I'm kind of bringing the big posse too. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have booths from Easton. We're gonna have booths from Hoyt. There will be a limited number of Grinch bows,
Yeah.
first come, first serve, available first next weekend. Um, so that'll happen. We've got Jocko Fuels coming. Sounds like there's going to be some UFC fighters there too. We're going to have some fun
Hmm.
contests at the Jocko Fuel side. I've got some awesome stuff coming in from Leopold. We've got, gosh, who else is coming? G5 is
The
going to be coming. Um,
Lancaster barbecue is going to be there. The Traeger,
yes,
local Traeger.
we're gonna be Traegering in the parking lot.
Yep.
I've got a little secret for you as well. And oh, by the way, what's the times? The times are, is it 8 to 4?
8 to 4, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yep.
8 to 4. So make sure you're there and listen, if you want to come and just hang out, awesome. But this is encouragement to bring your bows. We have some never seen before targets
Yes.
that we've made for this event, and I've got some really fun things planned. So we're going to give you time throughout the day for people to be able to shoot at some of our novelty shots to get your name in drawings for some awesome prizes. And then we'll have a drawing at a designated time. And when the drawing happens, that's when we're going to do the free for all. We're going to get everybody on the line and I'm going to be calling shots and we're going to do one target after another, closest to center, best ball, one time, take all. And you're going to be winning some awesome stuff. Not to mention, we've got, dang, Yeti has sent some awesome
Eddie.
stuff there. We've got
Yes.
we've got customized cups for a limited. It's not that limited actually. It's a shitload, but we've
Yeah.
got some custom cups that we're going to hand out. You guys are going to be doing a big sale on Yeti as well for everybody.
Right.
There's going to be dudes in the shop building bows like crazy. We're gonna have some awesome sales on Hoyts. Like I said, the Grinches are gonna be there. This is gonna be a fun event, and I haven't told you
Totally.
this, but there's um there's a group of Amish dudes that have been coming to the TAC PA since the first year I went. Do you know who I'm talking about? I posted them.
I
One of them looks
believe I
like
do.
Anthony Kiedis. I
Yes. Yes.
swear.
Yes.
Okay, so I told those guys years ago, they came up to me on the Bigfoot target and I said, "Hey, how comfortable are Amish pants?" Like I've always wondered. And they're like, "No, they're pretty dang comfortable." So I told them, I said, "I would love, do you guys make Amish pants tall enough for me?" And they're like, "We would make you some." Well, it just so happens that that Amish family measured me in PA, and I'm going to have my first set of Amish pants with suspenders and pockets to fit my release and my new pocket quiver from Push. So
Holy
I'm gonna
cow.
be suspended up, dog. I haven't told you that yet, but this is gonna be I'm coming in
That's
true
epic.
supporting that Amish community, baby. I hope they brought my pants. I want to see how these things work out.
It always amazes me that one of your most loyal groups of people that we see in our shop are the Amish. They know everything about you. They have all your stuff. I've seen the Amish buggies rolling down the road with the little knock-on
If you
stickers.
have, so help me, you better get a picture.
It's
Yeah.
the truth. They all know. It's you'd think, oh, technology. Where would they see you on YouTube, social media? They know it. They
Yeah.
know who you are.
Amish gone wild. Season one. I was in there. You just didn't know it, but yeah, I was in there, and I chose the dark path, and now I'm just doing knock on stuff. So that is awesome. I can't wait to come. This is gonna be
Oh,
so fun, dude. We got
it's going to be a great day for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a picture of the target, and it's pretty cool. People are going to like shooting that.
Yeah, so bring your bows.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm gonna be coming in. I'm actually gonna be coming in some on Friday. And hopefully, I know that you guys have already heard there's people traveling from a long way to come in. We wanted to make sure that like I wasn't in a designated booth, selling something or anything
Right.
like that. I am there for your community. So I want to be there to hang out, help, heckle, all the things that I love doing. And hopefully you're going to be helping me some.
That's going to be it. Yeah. The Grinch bows. I was excited about. I just heard about that yesterday that we have a bunch. I forget how many Steve said we have.
I don't know if it's a
And
bunch,
even
but you're gonna have I
it's
think you're gonna have lucky number 13, I think, is what's coming.
and then they get something. Anybody who buys something that day, buys one of those that day, it gets something extra from you, I believe.
Yeah, I told them, I said, I kind of want to make that like an NWTF thing where it's like, okay, this is how many we've got. Whoever buys one, those people are going into a drawing that for something pretty cool. And I haven't totally decided on that yet, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want it to be something personalized, something unique, and and then we'll do it. The other big one is MKC, Montana Knife Company
Yes.
came in freaking hot. We've got some custom MKC knives for LAS.
Yes.
So, and these will be first come, first serve. They're a limited run, but for all the faithful Lancaster people, we're gonna have MKCs for you guys too.
Yeah.
So that's gonna
You
be,
got to be there.
yeah,
None of
that's gonna
this
be
is
pretty
online.
cool.
Got to show up.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I'm
Yeah.
pumped, dude.
It's going to be awesome.
Archery's booming right now.
It
I
really
mean,
is. I mean, you saw it. We both saw it at that tack. They said PA is their biggest one. And even with the bad weather, it was packed.
5,000 people freaking stomping in the mud, dude. It looked like Lollapalooza out there.
It did. It did. And just, it's cool. It was cool watching all them walking around through the vendor village carrying bows, arrows. Where do you see that? That's just, it's
I,
cool to see.
well, I think that's the vibe we're going to be getting on the 28th too. I think we're going to get
Oh,
a bunch of just family, and I don't know, I call them the grassroots, you know. Actually we did some arrow wraps with some OG duck camo, just like this hat I'm wearing right now.
oh
Like
yeah.
I just got this. I'm like, I love the hat. I'm wearing it. But I called those wraps grassroots just because that's how I refer to all these events that I'm doing are just passion projects. I think what you're doing
Sure.
is your passion. And I love that. And I think that comes across to the people that we interact with.
Yeah.
They are the grassroots to archery. They're the people that are coming in, using the product, having a true customer experience with the product. But you know what else? A lot of people overlook about grassroots consumers is a lot of those people just use the product longer than we're used to dealing with pros. And I
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that all the time. I'm like, the pro handshake is like this. Um, what are you going to give me? And that's not they're needed 100%. And I was one of those guys without a doubt. But, the grassroots people are who pays all the bills in the industry,
Yep.
and they use the product until it's used out, usually, for the
They
most
know it.
parts. They
They
know they
know
know
that.
it. They know it. So
They know that stuff inside and out. When if something's wrong with it, or it has some tendency, they know it.
I love that about
Yeah.
those people. I love hearing those stories and everything. So what was I guess just to go back, how did you get into bow hunting if you were a Lancaster Archery customer back in,
Yeah.
89? I was wearing Jordan 3s, dude. I think I have an eighth grade basketball picture in Jordan 3s. My feet were 13s and I think I weighed 130 pounds. I was 6'3", 130 pounds my freshman year, dude. My dad said like if I would have fallen on the basketball court, it would have sounded like a chandelier breaking.
It was so for me. I came into this with no background. My dad wasn't a hunter, none of that. I was truly just he worked at a school, and I remember he came home one day with a bow and arrow, and I was probably, I don't know, 12 years old or something. And
What?
I don't know, something about that. I was just shooting in the yard. It just stuck with, I was like, this is cool. I
Where did
like
he get it?
this. So he at the high school, was in their gym class. It was
Okay, yeah.
recurve bow and the cheap old arrows they had. So he just brought that home. I shot at a refrigerator box, a cardboard refrigerator box. That was my target. And just shot that in the yard and just thought, man, this is cool. So then once I was out of college and able to buy my own stuff, I'll never forget the first 3D shoot I went to. I took a dozen arrows. I came home with none. I
We're the
lost
same.
everyone. I lost
Dude, we're on
everyone.
the same path.
No clue what I was doing. I
What
didn't
year was
think.
that? Your
That would have
first
been
like 3Ds.
89. That would have been.
And were the 3D targets were probably club made 3D targets back then,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Back then they were all
Insulation
homemade
foam and stuff.
foam. Yep. Made out
Okay.
of foam. There was a club here. And the thing is they were famous for that. They'd have two shoots a year, and there would be hundreds of people that would come to shoot these crappy
Dude,
targets.
same
They
as
were horrible.
us. The members would all be responsible for bringing one target to like the semi-annual club meeting. And they're like at that semi-annual club meeting, it would be just prior to the big shoot, like the summer shoot or whatever.
Yeah.
And people would come in with like the targets in their trucks with like drapes over the top, and all the club members would like wait for like the reveal, and it would be like a polar bear or something. Is that what yours was like?
Yeah. They
Oh
they
my
did that.
gosh, dude,
And
that's hilarious.
so I still shoot at that club now. And when I go there, way back in the woods, there are these giant blocks of that foam. And now they're all stained green. They've been sitting there for 40 years. And
Yeah.
I shoot with somebody younger. They're like, what's that over there? I was like, that's what they
That's
make
my
targets out of.
yeah. Yeah, that one, that's what a Mackenzie target looked like in 89, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
That
was,
is
a lot of fun. But
that is awesome.
so
Okay,
yeah,
give me give me another PJ story.
so I just did that and got into bow hunting. And what I discovered was like, man, I don't just want to I bow hunt. I might shoot once a year. I want to shoot all year.
Yeah.
That's when I got into Rob's leagues and stuff like that. So I could shoot year round and did all that. And I just posted a video a couple weeks ago. I dug out my 1994 Browning Ballistic Mirage.
Oh, you
It
son of a
still
gun.
works. And I
How
was like, I'm going to try and shoot a deer with that
wooden
this
riser, right?
No,
No,
that
oh
one
wait,
still had
the wooden
steel
risers.
cables.
Okay.
It had
Yeah.
the steel cables. It was here it goes. Kyle's handing it over
Oh,
to
you got it? Did
I
you put it
got
in
it
your
right
room? I
here.
love that.
Here it is.
Yes, dude, look at that thing.
This stabilizer, I had forgotten. Somebody told me what it was, but I knew it
The
has
Vibracheck.
mercury in it.
Vibracheck? I'm trying to look at it.
It's somebody told me what brand. It's worn off, but it's filled with mercury. I knew that at the
Oh,
time. I
nice.
was like,
Very,
They changed it
very
to
nice.
hydraulic fluid because that was environmentally friendly. But
How
yeah,
many of those freaking golden key rests were sold back then, dude?
a million.
A million
You
of
know.
them. Check out your site. Check out the fiber optics on that bad
Oh
boy.
yeah.
Bring that. Yes, dude. I
Got
can't
the
see
old
shit
checker
with those
there.
things, and you got full lighting in there. I can't see them already.
Oh, that yeah, that was
And you know what? Matthews stole that grip for 15 years of their life. That was the
it.
Matthews. That pretty much.
It
It was like
it looks
a wooden
exactly
boat
like it.
anchor.
So here's the thing, and John, you know this from doing that.
Oh, that's
We killed lots of stuff with these.
oh yeah.
I never thought saw that as any kind of
What yeah, what the FOC was FOC. You know what I
it was
mean?
yeah. If I drew back on a deer, it was going to be dead. That
Have you ever like have you ever ran the map? I haven't even ran the FOC math on like a 2216 with a freaking 15 grain aluminum insert and a 100 grain Thunderhead.
no
Because
idea.
that's all we
Got it
shot,
right
right?
here.
Is that it?
Thunderhead
What okay, what is that a 2216 or a 2219?
XX75 2216. Right there.
Yeah, dude. Hey, measure the FOC. Hand that off to someone and have them go do the FOC on what that arrow was. Because Chuck Adams and every other bow hunter on earth killed everything we still kill today with that freaking
Yeah,
arrow.
exactly. I mean, I
Yeah.
can just feel it that it's like nothing. It's it's with 100
Well,
grains.
if it's straight, we were excited.
That's it. Yeah. If it was straight, it was good to go. But yeah, I'm gonna kill a deer with that this year. I busted it out. I shot it. I was like, it felt horrible, but I was able to hit at 30 yards. I could hit what I wanted to hit with it. So yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That's hilarious. Um,
Yeah.
you tell me another story. I got to send one text to Sharon really quick. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna tell her where to go. I've got a relic I want to show you, but
Yes.
she'll have to bring it though.
So probably I remember
First deer, I want to know the
being
first.
yeah. So
Walk
being
me through
definitely a
that.
hunter. I'm out there, and for some reason in my head, I've never shot a deer before. I even with a gun. Well, no, I shot one with a gun. That was the first deer I killed. But first one with a bow. I had never shot anything with a bow. And for some reason in my head, I remember I had this spot. I had 17 bucks coming through in a line. This was back when where I hunt now was
Oh, yeah, I don't want to come to
17
PA,
bucks.
right?
And it's
You
not like
liar.
that anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and they're walking right under my stand. I'm letting 6 points and 8 points because in my head, oh, it's got to be a big one. And then as we're getting towards the back of the pack, they're starting to move farther out. And I was like, I've never killed anything with this before. I really don't know what's involved with that. Maybe I ought to just find one that gives me a good shot and shoot it. And of course, I missed because I didn't know what I was doing. But then later that year, I did have a button buck come in. I was like, all right, I got to kill something and figure this out. And what I had, I'll never forget this. My 20-yard sight pin was one of those old lighted pins that shined a light right back at you.
Oh,
So it's poor light. I turn that thing on. All I see is red. I can't see anything past it because it's a light shining right in my eye.
yes.
It's, and somehow I got it lined up and it was a shot. I didn't know what was going to happen. By pure miracle, I killed it. It was a good shot. And I was just like, man, that's about as cool as it gets right there.
Yeah, I remember some of those first pins, like, you wanted to be able to see it. And it's almost like
Yeah,
the sites came out with the pins, but no one had actually tried them in a low light situation to realize it just looks like like you're face first with stoplights. You can't see
spotlight,
nothing else.
nothing, zero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we got the lights down on those old check it pins and you
Oh,
see through the beam. You're
check
just
it. Oh
looking at a
my
wall of
gosh.
light. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know how
like,
we did it, but we did it.
yeah. check it would be like the axle sites of today, right? Like
Yes.
those were the target site ahead of ahead of
Yep.
themselves.
Toxonics, check it.
Well, Toxonics
Everybody
came
had them.
later, but yeah, that was I remember my first really good target site that I ever bought brand new. My only brand new target site I ever bought was a Toxonics nail driver. And I bought it from Scott Slates and his dad. I don't know if you knew them, but the Slates is
Now then,
who owned Toxonics. Rob would remember. But
I'm
I
sure.
bought it. I bought it at an IBO Triple Crown in Bedford. Uh, and I remember it to this day. I like took that thing back to my room and opened it up and just like looked at that thing so much. I shot it on a high country Supreme
High country.
cast
Yes.
riser,
All those boats from
glitter
back then.
blue fading to glitter silver.
High country, Browning, Oregon,
Yes.
Golden Eagle, all those old bows that just don't exist anymore.
I know.
They,
It's such a bummer that they do. A lot of people today say, "Oh, there's so many good bows for people to choose from," and certainly there is. There's some really good bow options right now, and a lot of people have maybe worked at a company and then went to a new company and were part of that company growing. There's a lot of smaller companies that have really good products, which although, I'm a Hoyt guy and obviously I'm going to do everything I can for Hoyt. Hoyt can't be in every dealership. Neither
right.
can Matthews. It's like certain bows have protected areas for the purpose of that brand having really good service, really good knowledge, and the dealers having the ability to stay healthy. That's why protected areas are out there. And some shops that are great shops can't get a certain flagship bow. So they have to, honestly, nowadays, I feel like the more options they have to offer a good product to that other person that goes across town to that shop, it's good for archery because there was
Yeah.
definitely a time where like this shop was, if if the number two shop in the world was 21 miles from you guys, they wouldn't have Boyd or PSE, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like the population has to sustain it. So if that shop still had an amazing customer base and the best archery tech ever and they were open during hours that no one else was, they couldn't get a good bow for someone that would keep them in archery. They would have to get a bow that was not a great archery experience because that's all they could sell. So I think now having all these lines, it's it's good, I think, for the people
Yeah.
that don't have the luxury to go to any shop they want to.
For sure. Yeah. There's lots of them out there that are the smaller brands. And yeah, that, like you said, get them into archery. I remember Rob's thing is always his kind of the way he runs this company is if archery is growing, we're doing fine. So his thing's not necessarily focusing on Lancaster archery. It's let's make archery bigger, and then we'll all boats will rise.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's a tough subject at times. It's like you definitely, you want all that to rise together, but sometimes it's like sometimes you lead the way and there's people that have a totally different direction in mind, and because you're kind of on two parallel paths, it like slows down the sport. It's hard to like, I don't know, give a particular subject on that, but I feel like at times we get in our own way more than, trying to convince people to be here.
Sure.
I did a speech a couple months back, and one of the things that I talked about at the end was it was just kind of based on principles that my grandfather taught me. He was a forester his whole life, And so he really talked to me about like he was like part of the original like plantations, the pine plantations that International Paper was planting throughout like the South. In like 40s, 50s, it's like all that stuff. All the big trees we see now, were
Yeah.
kind of planted back then. But he was just talking to me about like the importance of, not only having, good soil to put it in, but you got to water it, right? Which, I talk about, picking the right people to plant your knowledge with. And, sometimes you gotta do like you're planting clover, you got to just scatter seed and and hopefully a bunch take, but you got to scatter seed at times. But then also there's times where like when you see that opportunity of, this will change this person's life. And I related that to a lot of, veterans out there that I've focused a lot of time into giving a new mission for. I said, some seeds, like, they're worth your attention to just, fully plant them and make sure the bedding, everything's right. And then you water them and, you water it with support and you water them with doing things fun. You do all that. But then the one thing that a lot of people overlook is the importance of weeding out the things that, are taking away from that growth. And that's what I feel like is a part that at times in our archery industry we miss out on because unfortunately, we plant our own weeds as well. And when we are divided as a community, we're we're weeds to ourselves and we're preventing our own growth. And that's why, like, to me, it's like, there's times where people want to stand on the soapbox and just go crazy against anti-hunting. And what I say is, we can choose our way of doing things very tastefully to where the biggest populace, which is in the middle, they're not anti-hunters, they're
Right.
not hunters, they're undecided. And so like us being us posting, videos that are arguably disgusting, right? Yeah, it's a slap in the face to the people that slap us in the face, but it's definitely a slap to the face to the people who have never seen it.
Right.
So we prevent our growth because we're throwing our own weeds in our seed bed. So I just said, like, we can't like we just have to be united and we have to be united and we need to
Yeah.
be tasteful. We need to understand there's a lot of people coming into the bow hunting archery community that are open-minded right now. Listen, compounds are going into LA, right?
Yeah.
So like there's going to be attention to compound archery, and this was the dangerous part about it for recurve shooting or the recurve archers, like your hometown hero, freaking Kate Savage, right? She's just one of the best females anywhere, but
Yeah.
that was not related to hunting.
Right.
That's Olympic style recurve archery.
Yep.
Now compounds are going in. Compounds are related to hunting. So our importance of making hunting an a potentially understandable and tasteful sport is never more important than right now. And
Yeah.
so that was one of the things, just like, Rob's right. We all need to rise, but like we can't also have be putting buoys and piers and obstacles in our way to where this boat is rocking rocking in ourselves rather than us lifting the whole thing up. So
Yeah.
I,
We're
sorry,
excited.
I went on a
We're
rant there, but I'm just so passionate about like, I want to grow what we're doing. I know Rob's on the same page as that. When
Yeah.
we've been in hunting camps together, these are the types of rants we get on, is just like, we know what the big picture needs, but you also, especially now we have more influencers than ever influencing the people that aren't in the middle of it and don't know. So I'm pretty pumped though, man.
Yeah. It's going to be a good time. It's a good time for archery, that's for sure. You mentioned Casey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We just did a steel target challenge we do every year where we shoot a bunch of steel targets, but it's all compound guys. And she was here. So she came out with her Olympic recurve and she beat us all. 99 yards. She hit a 4-inch hole with her X10, 5-inch hole,
That's
Kyle
an
told me.
X-ring dog at 90 meters. I mean,
And she had no aim. She's said she's aiming at the tree with the barn behind it and over
oh,
here. And she sunk it at 99 yards
that's right. I forgot,
and
like,
beat us all.
because the women shot, what did they shoot? 70,
70
60?
meters.
But did they do 70, 60, like in the full FIDAs? They never did 90, did they?
No, well, a while ago. It's been a while. Casey hasn't shot that discipline.
But I'm trying to remember, did the women do 90 meters in the full FIDAs?
Women, I don't know. I know that the men did.
Because I was wondering if
Rob
I
talks
don't know
about
if
it.
they could all clear it, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I thought theirs was set up a little bit different, but yeah,
She
90
hit
meters is
80.
a stretch for a female recurve, Olympic style in an X10. An X10 is the most dense of an arrow that you can have at a micro diameter.
Yeah, and she hit it just correct. But that's anything I've seen. I shot indoor with her. She's shooting a recurve. I'm shooting a full compound target rig. She kicks my butt. She shoots 300s at the drop of a hat. Just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's so amazing to see. Watching the freaking assassins that are out there right now is pretty amazing. But you
Yeah.
know what's amazing to me though is like seeing Martin Damsbo just freaking in there
Yes.
grinding, son. I'm like, damn, dude.
900.
Yeah, just grinding. I mean, I remember going to Denmark and actually I coached in Denmark. I don't know if Martin was working for Balldoers Archery. I know that, and trying to think if he was, yeah, he was definitely at that level or just right on the verge of getting to that level. And I'm like, this guy's gonna be awesome. And grew up in the archery shop. I mean, that guy's done it probably more than any of us, really. And been full throttle on sales in the shop and world level archer.
Yeah. Any archer I've talked to from Denmark, you say, well, how'd you get into it? Some point they're mentioning Martin. That's just
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. No. And listen, he's a perfect example of I found Martin through Niels Balder, and Martin was just working in the shop at the time, I think doing like arrows and stuff. And I don't know, we'll have to ask Martin, but I think I gave him his first bow.
nice.
Not like to shoot, but I'm like I think I gave him his first sponsorship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then yeah, and then off to the races, he went. Yeah, because at the
Crazy.
time him and Camilla were two amazing Danish archers. There was several. There were so many then. Honestly,
Yeah.
Denmark had some ridiculously good field archers. They were freaking tough. Niels is definitely one of the hardest I've ever competed against at times. I finally got better than him as he got old. So hopefully Martin makes him listen to this if he's not deaf by now. Um, and then I'm trying to think there was another really good one named Tom. I'm trying to think what his last name was, but God, they were good. It's amazing to
Yeah.
watch your guys' videos and then to see I mean, it's the level is perfection, and that's just it. Like
Crazy.
we have nowhere to go with all these new youngsters. They are flawless.
Yeah.
What's it
18
like?
year old kids shooting 89 X's at Vegas. Who does that?
Well, anybody that puts their mind to it, but the information is so much better. Like, where do you
Yes.
think? Where do you think that growth really boomed from, PJ? Like based on, because you're out there talking to so many of them too.
It, I think it like took off when, all of a sudden there were videos that got people. I think one of the problems that archery had was that you kind of had to go to a pro shop. It was really hard to figure out how to do this stuff on your own. But then you started coming out with the your videos that we sponsored, which are still on our channel and still do really well today. Every day somebody's watching those videos.
That's awesome.
um, but I think that's, and then, Rob had one of the things when we started our YouTube channel was he was like, look, I don't know anything about YouTube. There's a cameraman. What we need to do is tell people about archery products, the games, whatever, how to do stuff. Figure that out and go do it. So we started doing it, and it just kind of, I think it grew from there with more people starting to put information on there. I think it became more accessible and less of a mystery to,
Yeah.
and that I think allowed it to explode because now people didn't look at us weird, bow and arrow. What are you doing with that? They were able to do it. You could pick it up, figure it out, learn how to do things. And it just took off.
Tell me how much target archery's changed. Because when you were getting in is for sure about when I was getting out. So I'm so far detached from it. I mean, I consume no media, by the way. Like I don't have time. If I follow people, like it's probably because like, I don't know, I saw them and if I see someone randomly, I might follow them if I know them. But like I don't consume any media because I just have no time. And if I have some
Sure.
time, I might be like looking at guitars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how much how
It's
much has it changed from when you started to now? Because that's a
it
pretty good window of time.
it's like worlds different on many fronts, the equipment being one of them. As you know, back then, I mean, we shot one in a target compound, you shot one front stabilizer. That was it. There was no back bars, there was no side rods. You didn't do that. You had the one front stabilizer, and that's what you shot. But I think what I know, a kind of a negative thing was, it used to be on ESPN.
Yeah,
ASA used to be on ESPN, so it was visible to people, and
yeah,
I think it was bigger. The money was certainly bigger for these
yeah,
archers. Jeff Hopkins, he's been shooting forever. He'll tell you all about the money he used to make. Um, and then, when ESPN, of course, got bought by Disney, now archery is hunting. We're going to put that away. And so it then went back into its corner where unless you were in that niche, you didn't know about it. You didn't know anything about it. So
yeah,
it's kind of been coming back. Then that was one of Rob's things with competition archery media was, hey, we got to get this back on TV.
yeah,
Somehow
yeah,
we have to make it more accessible to people. And so that's kind of, we brought that back. But even in the world of, you're a field archer, you did a lot of that. You remember in the 90s, field archery was huge in the,
yeah,
everybody shot field. I shot field. I love that game.
yeah.
Now it's kind of, dying down.
Dude, what the best technical training to archery, period.
I was the
Like,
best archer of my life when I was shooting field.
well,
Nowhere near as good now as I was then.
yeah. And that test, people see me shoot at tack and they're like, how does he think about that much stuff at one target? When you shoot field archery around the whole world and you're shooting with, I grew up shooting field archery with Chris White, Dave Cousins, Clint Freeman, Niels Balders, Morgan Lundeen, and guess what? It was perfect scores then, dude. Like perfect scores. These people were freaking amazingly good.
Yeah.
and field archery. That was the key to it. So,
Yeah,
man,
you had to know everything. Wind, you had to
yeah,
know angles, up, down, side, hills,
yeah.
just all that stuff. And so, yeah, and that's unfortunately
And
not
that's gone away. Back
gone.
bars is crazy.
Yeah, scopes. We didn't. I didn't have a scope. I may have been one of the few, but in my early compound days, I didn't have any magnifications. Just shoot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's come a long way. Well, even that Browning bow when I first brought it out, I had no D loop because we didn't shoot a D loop.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm
Connected to the
surprised you
string.
didn't have the rubber fingery things on there, bro.
I did
You
eliminator
did.
buttons. Well, not the finger ones, but I had the eliminator buttons that you put
Oh, damn.
over your release. I did put a D loop on that now.
I saw that pink one just to spruce it up a little bit. I
Yeah,
definitely noticed that.
yeah. But yeah, just all those advances through the years. Just
Gosh.
the equipment's better, but these archers too. They work at it a lot. I feel like when I started going through it, kind of everybody did it to get better at bow hunting. You were, if you shot from where I'm from, if you shot target archery, it's because you were a bow hunter.
Yeah.
Now there are some who don't bow hunt, which is fine, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's not so much about bow hunting now.
Yeah.
It's about target
Well, I mean,
archery.
you know my tagline. I'm a target archer to be a better bow hunter, and I'm a better bow hunter because I'm a target archer. Hunting
Yeah.
was first. The reason I stopped shooting on the U.S. team is when the World Cup final was freaking September 16th.
September.
I'm
Yeah.
like, count me out. I'm
No
gone.
thanks.
I drew a Montana tag that year, dude, and I left. I just said I can't do any of these things.
Yeah. It's still in September, the World Championship.
See, I'm
So
out. I'm
yeah.
out, dog. Why don't you compete? That's why I need to just be like, championship will be in Sweden this year, September 18th. That's why. PJ, so I have to do a hard stop,
Okay.
but me and you need to talk more.
Sure.
So on the 28th, you and I should do a podcast, on yours, and then that'll be part
Yeah.
two of this. So
Right.
part one's here, part
Yes.
two, we'll continue on, and you can navigate me down the PJ Reilly trail in your own fashion, and then yeah, that'll come out, and then by then we'll be hyped up. That'll be the day before the event, so we're going to be freaking totally
I'm already hyped
pumped
up. Yeah.
up.
It's
All
going to
right.
be fun.
Well, June 28th, Lancaster, 8 to 4. I'm gonna be there. 4, I got a rock star and bail at 4, but and then we're gonna do the podcast, and I'm pumped. This will be great,
Really?
dude. Yeah, it's gonna
Going
be
to be
so
fun.
fun. Thanks for everything you do too, man. I love the fact of you doing the tips out there. I love the fact that you're out there with the pros. I love the fact that you're still grassroots, and I love the fact that you were grassroots at the start. Thanks for everything you do, PJ. I really have valued you in our community, by the way.
Sweet. Appreciate you, man.
All right. See you guys. Be sure to check out knockonarchery.com for our full line of custom designed products, as well as free in-depth education and bow hunting entertainment to help you shoot at your best.